The Modern Woman Life Cycle is something I created here on Pearl Daily to show how modern women end up alone with their cats. I'm not going to go over it here, but make sure to check out my previous episodes where I cover the whole thing. Part of the modern woman life cycle is modern women get a BS degree that is not going to make them any money, and then get into the workforce and become a professional. This lifestyle includes buying cars they can't afford, buying pets they can't afford, and now buying houses they can't afford. Modern women feel entitled to owning property. Just like getting college degrees, modern women buy houses in an effort to show the world that they don't need a man. Women in their 20s are signing up for the commitment of 30 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars on a single income coming from a job that is volatile in an unstable market. Let's take a look at why more women are buying homes than single men.
New at 7, skipping the spouse and buying the house. That is what a number of American women appears to be doing.
So again, women want men that are homeowners. So we become the men we want to marry. So now we're buying houses because we want men with houses. It's like
they are buying up homes at more than twice the rate of single men. ABC 7's Ross DeMattei spent the day looking into the trend and what it means for Southwest Florida. He's live from Naples. Hey, Ross.
You're absolutely right, Krista. Single women all across the country are buying up houses far more often than single men. But is that the case here in Southwest Florida? It turns out it all depends on where you buy.
Single women, I should say, are buying houses twice as much as single men.
Mike Lombardo has sold real estate for nearly 3 decades, including in Cape Coral. He says he definitely sees more women than men interested in buying a home. And he says there are several reasons why.
There's really no reason you guys should pay rent as a man. Just find an old lady to have sex with. You know what I mean? Like, you could go, you'll have sex with the old fat women for free. Like I know one of you's doing it, so you might as well get like some housing out of it. Just keep going older and uglier until you find a woman with a house. That's what I say.
One would be wealth building. Obviously, owning your own home is correlated with building wealth. Another was that sometimes single women have more responsibilities than single men.
17% of home buyers last year were single women, compared to 7% single men. And the gap between the sexes is growing, according to the National Association of Realtors. Valerie B. has been a realtor in Naples for 15 years. She says her clientele doesn't reflect the national numbers.
In my 15 years, I've sold just a handful of properties to single women.
That's because she sells almost entirely to retired couples.
People come here who are purchasing a second family home.
Both brokers agree, though, women are more built to buy than men.
I think women are seeing the benefits of it and not really the downside of it. And from the men I've talked to, a lot of them see the downside of it and are just like, hey, I don't want commitment.
Now, national statistics show women struggle to make less money than they do make less money than men. They struggle to save money more so than their male counterparts, and they struggle with saving money. But despite all that, that's not stopping women from buying housing. Reporting live in Naples, Ross DeMattei, ABC 7.
Of course it's not. They're making less and buying more. Obviously, that's what we do. I just want a woman to prove me wrong, please.
We're getting you more on this story tonight. The rate of home buying by singles isn't the only place a gender gap is apparent in the real estate market. A report out last spring showed homes sold by single women fetch less than those sold by single men. Here in Southwest Florida, single women get an average 13% less for their homes than men selling similar homes.
Yeah, because the men probably took care of it, right? The answers are right, in front of us.
All right, there's been a lot of talk about the gender gap in tech, but it turns out when it comes to home ownership, there's also a gender gap, especially if you're single. But in this case, women have a big lead over men, and our business and tech reporter Scott Budman hit the streets to find out why.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide margin, too. Single women are more likely than single men to own homes here and across most of the country. So we went and asked single people and real estate agents, how did that happen? Vienna Chambers knows the old school conventional wisdom when it comes to home ownership.
I mean, most times you think, the stereotype is that men will buy houses for themselves and their family, and that's their job and their role.
And she's not having it.
My goal since I was very little is I want my first house to be purely bought by me.
You don't need a man.
I don't need a man. I don't need help. I want it to be bought by me.
Yeah, I know women that buy houses. And do you know who takes care of the houses? Not them. Again, this is all just status. It's like, I want to look cool. I want to brag that I have a house. I want to post on Facebook that I have a house. So I'm going to get a house and make it my dad's problem and my brother's problem and whoever, other people's problem.
A lot of single women feel the same way. In fact, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, more single women in San Jose own homes than single men. They also own more homes in San Francisco. In fact, the South Bay has...
Men just walk away. They're like, you guys want the houses? You get the houses. They're just like, please stop nagging. You want the corporate America? You can have corporate America. You guys want the military? You can have the military. I mean, they just keep... They're like, no, thank you.
The largest margin of single women ownership nationwide. And even though women still earn less on average than men...
I wanted safety. I wanted good neighbors. I wanted close, good schools.
I'm sure someday, but, not now.
They want to be...
Yeah, because really, you need two incomes.
Owners.
One thing that I believe as a woman I can say we all have in mind is the house, the place to regroup, the anchor. This is what it is.
Yeah. We're so cooked.
Single women own 2.64 million more homes than single men in the U.S. Let me finish this article. So let me say that one more time. Single women own 2.64 million more homes than single men in the U.S., okay? On an average, women earns around 83 cents for every dollar they earn, okay, compared to men. In the U.S., single women own a total of 10.76 million homes, whereas single men own 8.12 million. There's a difference of 2.64, and the gap is growing. In 48 out of 50 states, single women were found to own more homes. The two exceptions were North and South Dakota, which only 3 people lived there. And then Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina had the greatest share of single women homeowners. Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina. On average, across the 3 states, single women own 15% of all owner-occupied houses, whereas single men owned 11%. Although men earn more than women on average, that is not always true for younger generation. According to new Pew Research Center, younger women younger than 30 earn more than men in cities including New York, D.C., and L.A.
Yeah, because women under 30 are getting all these high-paying jobs doing nothing,
Let me read that last sentence to you again.
And that's why I'm really not with this. I'm not the stay-at-home wife type that's going to say all women should be stay-at-home mothers. Because you have to understand, guys, I'm one of 10 kids. My mom's mom had 13, or 9 and 13 on my dad's side. We're having like 2. I don't really see the problem with a woman having a part-time job. Like my grandma was a farmer. Like her husband was a farmer and they had to work on the farm. How many hours a day do you think they were working on the farm? Now I know the difference is it's outside of the home versus inside of the home. I totally get that. But we have laptops, YouTube, video, there's video edit. There's so many jobs, building websites, freelance,
According to Pew Research Center, women younger than 30 earn more than men. Women younger than 30 earn more than men in New York, Washington, D.C., and L.A. What do you think about these stats?
So nobody's going to be honest. Everybody knows they're just giving us jobs for being hot.
So the first stats surprised me a little bit, but then I kind of clicked for me where, remember the video we did on single moms versus dads that had kids?
Yeah.
So the far majority go with the mom, right? And at that point, who needs a house if you have kids to provide for versus no kids? So if you kind of...
Young women aren't having kids.
correlate, or if you add the single mothers with kids that are taking care of them in the custody versus a single dad that's taking care of it in custody, then the crossover there, I can see how those numbers make sense.
But then, okay, so if your argument's going to be divorce, I just pulled up the top states, 10 states with the highest rates of divorces. New Mexico's number 1. West Virginia is 2.
But what if you never got married?
What do you mean, what if you never got married?
In terms of kids out of wedlock or kids, you never get married.
Where a couple splits up, but they've never had a legal marriage.
It's so simple. I mean, it's like these guys are so much smarter than me. They really are. I mean, they're way more accomplished than me in every way. How do I see this and you don't? That's what I don't get. Are they just filtering? Because it's so simple. It's so simple. Women are buying homes they can't afford, and women are getting jobs for doing nothing. There you go. There you go.
Divorced. We're just parting ways.
So his house goes to her?
No, he never had a house.
She has need for a house.
Yes,
because she has the kids.
Yeah, but she's taking care of a kid and the
I'm not saying yes. Yeah. Then probably he's having to pitch in of some sort.
Women aren't having kids because they don't like kids. It's so simple. Like, women aren't having kids because we don't like kids that much. Otherwise, we'd be dying to have kids. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like please have a kid, you know.
Money to be able to buy a house.
But you'd also need a house in that situation more so than
I understand you need a house.
Yes.
There's a difference between needing a house
and
affording a house.
Absolutely.
Affording.
Yes. But who's like, again, that was where I was looking at it in terms
But
of
the more interesting thing is, what about the pay inequality? What about that whole argument?
Yeah.
I mean, in 3 major cities, this is news to me, under 30, women are being paid more than men.
That's sexist.
Is that also
Can you pull up that article, by the way? Just zoom in a little bit.
Is that maybe because women under 30, more of them are going to school and getting a higher education, and especially if you're in one of those 3 states, they're very for equality in terms of pay and equal opportunity, then you have younger people who are higher educated.
By the way, I want to continue to read this article. I'm actually curious right now. Okay, so we talked about North Dakota and South Dakota. Okay, great. In Florida, Maryland, and Delaware, the difference in home ownership between single men and women was the greatest. Across the 3, single women on average owned around 4.5% more homes than men. We're talking Florida, Maryland, and Delaware. There is no correlation between those 3 states.
It's interesting.
Women are paid less than men on average and earn 83.1% of what men earn, according to U.S. Department of Labor. The figure compares the median wage of all full-time male and female workers in a country using data from 2020 and is the most comprehensive analysis of the gender wage gap to date. According to the data from National Association of Realtors in 2022, 19% of buyers were single women, whereas just 9% were single men. In 2015, single women made up 16% of the buyers, where single men made only.
They need to put me on these shows. I'll break it down. I'm like, I'll be like the least accomplished one on the panel. It's happened to me before, but I don't know. Maybe I'm like, am I seeing things that you guys don't see? Like, how do you guys not see this? I mean, I know someone with 6 figures in debt and she bought a house. She makes a lot of money, but she has 6 figures of debt. Do you know what I mean? Like, as most of you know, I have been fighting on the front lines of the simp epidemic for years, but I need to tell you about a quiet weapon being ratcheted up against men that is rarely talked about. It's not just the relentless anti-masculinity propaganda and OnlyFans hoes causing the societal issues that we discuss on this show. Did you know that the average city's tap water contains trace pharmaceuticals and endocrine disruptors? This often includes estrogen from birth control. The average adult consumes a credit card worth of plastic every single week. That's 5 grams of plastic a week on average. So it's no wonder that the average male's testosterone is half of what the average was 50 years ago. Testosterone levels decline 1% a year, and without a course correction, we are headed towards extinction. No matter how based you are, you need to be naturally boosting your testosterone. My friends at Chalk, CHOQ.com, are on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. Chalk's Male Vitality Stat contains premium and potent herbs clinically studied to naturally boost your testosterone levels, sperm count, and overall vitality. Just one of the many Ingredients in the male vitality stack was studied in double-blind human clinical trials to boost total testosterone 20% in 90 days. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity, you're more capable of making decisions and taking risks. Having high testosterone will also affect your pheromones, so women will find you more attractive subconsciously. Get the Chalk Male Vitality Stack right now on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Use my name Pearl as your coupon code and you'll get 25% off site-wide on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. My name Pearl is the discount code.
9% and the gap between single women, that is very weird to look at this. So I think if you think about who prepares more for a rainy day, that mindset, I'm going to give that victory to women.
Yeah.
Who thinks more long-term by...
Oh my God. What a simp. Who thinks more long-term? Do you know women at all? We own 80% of the world's debt, Patrick. 80% of the world's debt is owned by women. And you think we look more long-term? What do we spend our money on? Botox, houses we can't afford, high-end gym memberships. What do men spend their money on? Women!
Saying, let me at least buy a house and, you know, make some kind of an investment. This is...
And if they're single, Pat, and they're dating, then they're not paying for drinks, popcorn at the movies. They're not paying for dinners.
Yeah, but they're paying for Botox, fake nails, fake hair. Like the list of plastic surgery. I mean...
Of course they got money to buy a house. They're not...
They don't have money to buy it. It's like, these guys are smarter than me. How do they not see this?
You know what I mean? Because those girls, they're single. It's not that they're not dating. You feel me, Rob? Rob's in love.
I've been
Rob's
married.
married. Yeah, you're married.
12 years.
Guy.
That's nuts.
This is everybody here spooked a little bit.
It's an interesting stat for sure.
Yeah. Are you still spooked, Roger, or is this making you think a little bit?
I'm not making a lot of sense out of it.
Me too.
Because I'm trying to figure out why those three specific cities. It's very interesting.
States, Florida, Delaware, Maryland.
Well, but also New York,
L.A.,
L.A., Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington, D.C., the government's the biggest employer.
Right, that makes sense. D.C.
But I can't figure out why the other two.
But by the way, this is a story to men typically purchase homes that were $249,000 last year compared to women who purchased homes that were $230,000. It's not a big difference.
Yeah.
It's not even 10%. It's 5% difference. And sacrifices women are generally more likely to make included cutting out non-essential spending, taking second jobs. It's kind of like what you're talking about, canceling vacation.
Women are more likely to cancel vacation plans because they're the only ones that go on vacation. It's like 80% of female travelers are women. Women cut out, but do you know how women cut out non-essential spending? Because they label everything that they don't need as essential. They label the gym and membership is essential. The Botox, essential. The boob job, essential. The groceries from Whole Foods, essential. So they're like, yeah, we eliminated his spending. That's how women balance budgets. They take out he buys video games. And then she's like, we got to cut that.
Vacation plans.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Wow.
Very interesting article. I'd love to see more stats and data on...
I just can't believe that. Like, Patrick David or whatever, he has a huge podcast. He's like a really successful guy. Like I think he's worth like $300 million. And that was your take? Yeah, okay, well, all right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he seems to think that women are doing better, so let me know in the comments. Please like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.